Hi, my name's Tracy Leake and I'm from Leisure Seekers. I'm really excited to bring you another interview on the couch today. Why do we call them on the couch interviews? Well, we sit down with really successful business owners who are not generally used to being in front of the camera. So what we do is we just sit them on the couch and we set up the video camera and just have a chat to them, because what we really want to do is have them comfortable, because that's when you're going to get the best information. So today's interview on the couch is with Warren Ballantyne, who is the franchisor, along with his wife Anne, of the Gutter-Vac franchise business. And Gutter-Vac is an amazing business, to be honest. I think a lot of people think, could you really make a living from cleaning gutters? And the answer is absolutely yes. You can make not only a fantastic living, but you can also have a life. I'm not going to tell you the Gutter-Vac story or a lot of details about it, because Warren's going to go into that in the interview. What I wanted to talk about was something on a more personal level. I've got to know Warren and Anne quite a lot over the last couple of years, and they're incredible people. And that's not incredible business owners, I mean they're incredible people. There's a couple of things to succeed in business that you can learn, but it makes it so much easier if they're naturally ingrained in you. And I'd say Warren and Anne have these things naturally ingrained in them. And the first one is work ethic. They understand that, to get the result they want, that they have to put in the effort. And they still work in the business each and every day, building it and growing it and supporting their franchisees. And it's really exciting to see a franchisor who started the business still there each and every day. And Warren takes calls every day from all of his franchisees. They can all just call him directly to get the information that they need. The second thing that they do really well is that they understand that cycle of business, and that is that they understand that if they look after their franchisees and help them grow big, strong, profitable, lifestyle-rich businesses, that then in turn Warren and Anne will get everything that they want. The franchise business model is a very profitable model, and a lot of people get into franchising because they think that it's a great way to make money, and it absolutely is. But the key fundamental they forget is that they need to look after their franchisees, because without successful franchisees, you do not have a successful franchise. And so it's really great to talk to people like Warren and Anne who really get that and really worry and look after and find ways to help their franchisees grow and build their business. So I really hope that you enjoy this interview with Warren today. I got lots of gold nuggets out of it, of information, and I really hope that you do too. So let's get started talking with Warren Ballantyne from Gutter-Vac. So for a start, Tell us a little bit about how Gutter-Vac came to be, your history before Gutter-Vac and why you decided to franchise.
We had a plumbing business, and we were asked to clean gutters. In those days, plumbers cleaned gutters, obviously by hand. And also in those days, we were finding things like syringes and nasties in the gutter, because that's where they were being thrown. So, and also we had spiders and, that sort of vermin up there. So we decided, my brother and I decided we should develop vacuum equipment. So that's what we did. We discussed it. We then went out and looked for it. He actually went out in the early stages and found equipment. We then diversified from that original equipment to different, more reliable equipment to where we are today, and just developed the machinery. We ran that for probably 18 months and then thought maybe a great business to franchise. So we then talked to a company, to a guy we knew actually in Bundaberg, who put together systems. So he did franchising. In those days, QA was the new industry. So we had been through QA ourselves with our plumbing business, and we talked to this company about the opportunity of franchising. So we did. But then we went down a different path, and we went through an accountancy program, accountancy firm, and they built our manuals, and we used a law firm to build our contracts and agreements. So we did all that in Bundaberg, and then we went out to the marketplace. So and that took some years. And then for every year after that, we thought we had it perfectly right. And every year after that, we realised we didn't. So every year, every day, we're sort of changing what we're doing. It's just an ever-evolving business, and I'm sure every franchise system is. I think if you want to, and the technology that's becoming available to everybody just forces us to change. We can't be stagnant. It's impossible.
So how long ago was it that you started franchising?
12 years ago we started the actual franchising. 15 years ago we started the business. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's different with the Gutter-Vac machinery compared to other people out there that are saying they clean gutters?
That's a secret. I'd have to kill you after I told you. Yeah, it's different. It just uses different. It uses a different principle to what most other people are using.
So what's the difference between actually using the vacuum system compared to people who are just going out there and doing it with their hands?
The obvious things. Obviously, we can. Our equipment's wet and dry, so we can vacuum the mud and the sludge and the rubbish that's in the bottom of the gutters. We can also get at places that are hard to get at because of the vacuum ability. You can have smaller, specially made tools to get into spots, and it'll suck them out, whereas you can't do that by hand. The advantage of that, of course, is it's faster. It's much more efficient. It collects it all into one place, doesn't make a mess. We don't have to pressure clean or blow and then clean the property again. So it's a once-off. But I suppose the magic is also the diversification of the equipment. We can do other things, like with that same equipment, we get into ceilings and vacuum out old insulation. So you might even have fiberglass bats that are collapsing. We can vacuum them out. We don't have to pick them up. The pump-in style insulation that's in ceilings, we vacuum that out. We can do dust and dirt. We can do rainwater tanks. We can do chimneys. We've even had the occasion where somebody's cleaned a cattle dip. They've vacuumed, or they've emptied as much water as they can. They couldn't get any more out, so they got our guy to go in and vacuum all the sludge out of the bottom of the cattle dip. Deep well manholes that they couldn't pump it high enough with small submersible pumps. So yeah, it's equipment that can do a lot more than just clean gutters.
Mm-hmm. So in that last 15 years, how have you seen franchising change?
I believe we've got a great business, a great franchise business. I think there's a lot of businesses that probably shouldn't be franchised. But then I don't think they survive anyway. So there's a lot of that's a great idea. Let's franchise it. The thing about franchising is, I think, is the legal requirements behind it are becoming much more stringent, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. It's also becoming more apparent that franchises are more successful than private enterprise. So, the percentage of success in franchising is much higher than people who do it on their own. The failure rate in doing it on your own is scary. It's scary big compared to franchising. It's the failure rate is very low. And I think people who would never go into business for themselves can do that by using a franchise system. So that's the advantages I see.
So what do you think makes a really great franchisee?
The magic question. I don't have a clue. I really don't. Certainly somebody with ambition, or somebody with a clear vision of them wanting to go into business and use the cliche, not on their own. They want to go into business, they want support. But it's It's difficult. What makes an ideal franchisee?
Is there any particular traits that they have that you could look for if someone was looking for a franchisee? Is there things that you sort of look at? Because sometimes it's more that gut feel rather than saying, oh, because they're detailed or they're orientated. Is there more things that you look at in a gut feel sort of a way when you meet someone and go, yeah, I think that'd be pretty good?
Yeah, they've got to like people. I think that's an essential. We've found in our system that the guys that have the least trouble going forward are those that have got good sales backgrounds or good sales ability. So my ideal franchisee is somebody who's come out of a sales background or sales type business who wants to work outside but likes to work with people, because we're in a service industry. If you don't like people, then you shouldn't be doing it, because that's what you do. You work for it. Everyone's your boss. Not necessarily. We're not looking for people that have got lots of money. That's not necessarily one of the criteria. Look, it's such a broad thing that we get people that want lifestyle. Some people want a career, and some people just want to play with machinery. So for us, we get people who've got machinery and love it. Some people want to build their own little empire, and we've got those. I don't think there is one thing that you can look for, and I don't think there's a franchise system out there that is that driven towards what am I looking for? There's no system, I don't think, that has a very narrow band of requirements. I think everybody that goes in franchise has probably got a lot of ability. Yeah, so probably doesn't answer your question, but
no, I think it does actually, because I think that it's more about then how you support them.
That's right. What's more important is finding out what they need. And that's why we've brought a business coach into the business. That's, because they're an expert in that field. They know what to do. We have developed a business and a business model, but as the years go on and things change, then the model changes. It evolves, and we realise that we need IT people involved. We need business coaches involved. We need marketing people involved. In the old days, it was a lot simpler. Now it's become more complex. But by us providing all those tools in our business and our franchise model, we like to think that we can sort of support most people.
So, what would you say should be the number one priority right now to get a result in franchising for a franchisor?
Throw the question at me again.
Yeah. So what would you say should be the number one priority right now to get a result in franchising if you were a franchisor?
Well, clearly sales. I mean, it's all about building the brand. The faster we can sell franchises, the bigger the brand grows. The bigger the brand grows, the bigger each franchisee benefits from it. So, when we first started franchising, we were told grow slowly. So we certainly did that, probably too slowly. But what that does, it keeps your brand quite small. We're at sort of 50 now, and I'd like to think over the next 3 years we get to 100. And if we can build the brand quickly, then the franchisees, the new ones that come on board and the old ones that are in place, are going to benefit from it. So for us, where we are at the moment, fast growth is very important.
So when you look at anyone out in the franchising world at the moment, as in a franchisee, especially knowing the economy that we've been going through, what would you say for a franchisee is the number one priority they should have working within a franchise system?
Well, probably exactly the same. Yeah, they need to be looking for a franchisor that is ready to go, ready to grow. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean a new small franchise maybe still be a great opportunity, depending on what they want. But obviously the franchise systems that have got some growth behind them, which you would hope they've learnt a lot of the mistakes they've made and fixed those, and they wouldn't probably be still in business today if they hadn't. So most of the franchise systems that are more than a dozen now, 2013, are probably going to make it, or probably going to get close to it. You would think that they are the companies you want to jump into. And the faster they can grow, the better you'll go. So that's what I'll be looking for as a potential franchisee, is someone that's really growing quite fast. Yeah.
And so what about support? Because you guys provide a lot of support here, and it's not just business support, but technical support, marketing support, internet support, and also even just managing, like with Fran Connect, with all of the bookwork and database and things. How important have you found that that's developed over the last 15 years of that support?
Probably the biggest support we've given is emotional support. We can show somebody how the machinery works, and we can fix most problems over the phone in minutes, literally. And if it can't be fixed, that means it's broken properly, and then we have to replace something. So the machinery side of the business is no problem at all. The marketing is pretty much set, and it's set in place, and really if people just follow that, they will get a result from it. Probably the fact that we've identified that a business coach, and we've used Tracy from Leisure Seekers. The reason we've done that is because we like to think that we're actually giving emotional support with some direction, and that's where we started to become undone. We didn't have exactly what we needed there, so we've got an expert to do it. And most of the emotional support we get from people is we normally see that there's some personal problem happening behind the scenes, but unlike a normal family, they've actually got somebody they can talk to on a business level, but then bring in the family issues. So we solve a lot of family problems at head office, and I'm sure anyone in the support industry would agree with that.
So when you got into franchising, what's been the greatest reward for you and Anne from franchising?
Well, probably to watch people succeed. We've got some very successful franchisees, and when you think that all came from a barbecue at under my the back of my house with my brother, and we had 7 million 4X beers, and thought, this is a great idea, let's do it, and we did, and it was an idea that we carried through and been absolutely persistent. And there's been many times could have given up, and possibly should have given up, but just being stubborn. We just no, I'm not putting this much of my life into something and not see it succeed. And then watching somebody else succeed, very rewarding. I love it. I like looking at the sales reports each Monday or Tuesday, and go, my God, look at that. That's impressive. So yeah, love it.
Because I think that's you've touched on something there that most people wouldn't think about. I call them, there's lots of sexy franchises out there that are very expensive to get into, and then there's ones that are not so sexy.
Yep.
But give us some examples of what it's actually meant for some of your franchisees, as in results and money and time, and what it's done for their life.
Oh, we've got franchisees that had nothing, and their prospects were less than promising, and they've come into the business and made it successful. Not only, they've managed out of that to grow a business that can give them a lifestyle, and supply them with the things that they want in life, all the material things that they want, And for some, then sell and move on and make a profit out of their franchise and move on to something else in their life. And we've got some long-termers that have been there for right from the beginning. You know, we've got a couple of guys. Our Tasmanian franchisee was our second franchisee, and they're still got Gutter-Vac in Tasmania. So, and they're still very successful. You know, they're just people who they're just good human beings that have got good business principles. They're just doing it. So, you know, I love to watch them do that. You know, it's great.
How important do you think it is in, you know, selecting the right people to be on your team, so your head office team?
Yeah.
How important is that for you to make sure you've got the right people on board to help you help the franchisees?
No, it's vital. It's absolutely vital. If we've got the wrong people here, it won't work. You know, we can have a massive, not particularly perfect franchisees, but we cannot have the wrong people here. So yeah, that has probably been, we've been very lucky with that, but it's probably been our biggest struggle. But I've got to tell you that our whole team here are all old people. We're all, you know, we're all well past 30, except for a couple of our consultants who are not. How old are you? No. So no, very important, and I think if you've got the right team, you need less people. And we're running 50 franchises with 4.5 people on the ground all the time, with help from outside consultants and outside assistants of maybe 4 or 5 people. Yeah, and I think we run a pretty good show.
So you are also very involved with franchising in general, being a part of the Queensland Franchise Council chapter. What makes you want to stay aboard with that? A lot of franchisors are just focused on their business, but you're involved in the franchising community. What's made you really want to step forward and do that?
The FCA, or the Franchise Council of Australia, is a national organisation. I'm on the Queensland Chapter Committee, as you said. I originally wanted to be on that to just see what the industry held. And since I've been on it, I've been involved for some years now. There's a good group of people. I think the FCA is a vital industry body in Australia, and it needs all the support it can get. It needs a lot more support from franchisors and franchisees, because it's really for them. So I also think that as a franchisor, we can give back something. It doesn't take a lot of your time, but there's some really good people in there, and at a national level, they're very important in the industry. They do quite a bit of lobbying, and I like to think that we can at least, represent part of the industry through an organised group.
And do you find that you're able to learn from other franchise systems, great innovations or things that you can bring into your system?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all the finer detail stuff. Most systems have got the big stuff pretty right, but it's the little stuff that makes the difference. So really, that's vital, and the networking that happens through the group is quite invaluable. It's just, it's extremely important. So yeah, we'll learn a lot.
And so I think most people would probably be surprised just thinking, Gutter-Vac and, mainly we clean gutters, but you're actually ahead of the curve in a lot of technology and online strategies and databases for your franchisees. What has prompted you to get into that even years ago, to start putting things more internet-based? Well, to tell you the truth, my daughter got involved in the business. And she came from a legal background. She was a lawyer, and their law firm was extremely systemised, and we looked at a reporting system that was reliable and comprehensive. And that's why we went down that path. So we've been cloud-based for years, and I know at the moment it's the
in discussion, to be cloud-based makes you innovative. It's been around for a long time. So we've got this system that we believe gives our franchisees 24-hour access to the business. So the reason we did it was, I mean, I was a plumber, so when you come home in the afternoon or come home at night, it was too late. If you needed to get something or buy something, a uniform or whatever, you had to do it during the day. Whereas what we've put in place for these franchisees is they've got everything's online. So if they want a uniform Sunday night, they can go and order them. They want business cards, we use Worldwide Online, which is now rebranded to Worldwide Print. So we've got a portal with them so they can order their business cards and flyers, all of that at competitive rates, but when they want to. We don't have to have somebody sitting here and putting margins on everything. They can actually order the product themselves. So cloud-based online type technology is absolutely essential for any franchise system.
So in the last 15 years, obviously you've had to change and grow and develop. What do you think are the traits that you've really had to work on to really survive in franchising and to build your business to where it is today, to the successful franchise it is?
Well, I think the secret is just being open to new ideas. If you ever think that we've done it, we've got it right, and that's it, then you may as well shut the doors, because you won't succeed. You will eventually fail. Things are moving so fast that you've just got to listen to other people. You've got to talk to other people and look at other ideas and see what's happening in the marketplace, see what's right for you, and then be open and willing to take it on board. I think all of the successful franchise systems have done that. I think that's why they're successful.
So, you said earlier that you've really got to be out selling as a franchisor to bring on more franchisees for that brand awareness. What are the main things that you do to attract franchisees to your system?
Probably should show them the opportunities. The one thing that we probably struggle with is people find it hard to believe you can make a living out of cleaning gutters. And the thing is that we've got 50 franchises out there proving you can do it. When we first started the industry, and we did pioneer the industry, there was virtually nobody doing it. And over the last 15 years, if you now Google gutter cleaning, there are pages of people doing it. Of course, when we first started, there wasn't Google, but the yellow pages didn't even have a listing for gutter cleaning. So it was under S for spouting and gutters. So that gives you an idea in the 15 years that have transpired what's happened. So for us, we're out there telling people about a business for people that want to work outside, want to work in a business that's hands-on and customer-based, and convince them that there's a business model to back up the business, they can be successful. So that's what we're telling people. And that's what our website tells people.
So you mentioned earlier it's taken a lot of persistence to stick with it and to get through those hurdles, and I believe every business has peaks and troughs.
Yep.
If someone was sitting here with us as a franchisor who was in one of those troughs, what sort of advice would you give them to keep going and how to turn their business around?
The very first thing to do is look at themselves and find out if they've stopped believing in the product. If they've stopped believing in the product or the model that they're trying to sell and promote and grow, then walk away from it. Shut the doors, it's over. Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, you can't do it. No one else is going to believe you. So you've got to give yourself a little uppercut now and then and say, oh, things aren't going well, oh, poor me. And that's great, nothing wrong with that. It helps you identify that you might need to change direction. But if you get to that point, you need to go and talk to people. Talk to your best friend, go to a networking group, talk to the next door neighbour, just talk to people. Talk. and find out. Go to your best franchisees that you've got and talk to them and get them to reconfirm why they bought their franchise. And it won't take long. You'll come out of the doldrums and you'll get on with it. Or you identify that you've always fooled yourself, you should never have done it. You know.
So that same thought pattern there, but for a franchisee, if they're struggling in their business as a franchisee, what would you recommend to them in any sort of franchise system?
Get to your franchisor's front door as fast as possible. Talk to other franchisees, but be careful. Most people are quite happy, you know, to have some drama and putting 10 people together and grouping them up against somebody, you will always end up with, you know, a small battle, and you will kill the person you want to try and kill, even though you never meant it at the beginning. And once it's over, you'd probably be remorseful. But I would be, if I was a franchisee and I felt it was that bad, the first thing I'd do is get to my franchisor and I'd knock on his front door and say, I want to talk. And just list what is not going right. And you'll probably find it's not all the franchisor's problem or the franchise system's problem. There may well be some problems at home or in other things in your life. So, you know, being in business, whether it's a franchise or not, it's a complete package.
Not every franchise system runs conferences, but you do. How important do you think conferences are in your franchise system?
Very important. We've only run them in the last few years. You know, for the first 10 years we didn't. But the last couple of years we've realised how important they are, and the rule of thumb is about 50% of your franchisees will turn up to a conference. We're achieving that, but I'd like a lot more. But even though we had a ball at the last one, so I had a good time. And if I can have a good time, have a drink with the franchisees, we can have a bit of a game and a play, and we can all learn something. And I learned a lot at our last conference. I learned a lot about the franchisees. I was very happy. We'll certainly be having. We're planning 2014s already.
Maybe you should share a little bit about, because it was quite a different conference you did this year, but you just said you learned a lot about the franchisees.
Yep.
But what exactly did you do that created that learning? Because it wasn't a classroom style sort of a conference.
No, the last couple have been. They've been sort of classroom, let's learn stuff type conference. This year we decided, let's not do that. Let's have a fun conference. So we had go-karts. We had go-kart races, and we had two different lots of people. Ended up with winners on both sides. So they then competed for the grand final. That was outstanding, and on a fun level, it was brilliant. We just had a great time. Everyone did. As the franchisor, I got the chance to stand back and have a look who was competitive, who was insanely competitive, and it was interesting to watch. You know, people bumping off walls continually and taking a long time before they learnt they need to do something different to stop bumping off the wall. So there's a lot of life lessons came out of the go-karts. I couldn't believe it, how much I learnt. So yeah, I learnt who was going steady and straight and fast and who was going and needed help. So we've directed some help towards those people since then. We did have a little bit of classroom, but it was really about new innovative stuff, and they really appreciated that. We had a fantastic awards dinner, great night, very unofficial, but in a nice environment. We actually had it in the Tats Club in Brisbane. Great environment, so I'm more than happy to give the Tats Club a plug. And we took all our staff along and all their partners and all of our friends. Tracy from Leisure Seekers came along, and it was great. We just had a great night. So we knew some of the boys would like a drink on the Friday night, so then we had the staff cooking barbecue on Saturday morning. That was an outstanding success. got all the carbs happening again. Then we had round tables, and we had a couple of presentations and then a round table on the Saturday, followed by a trip to the Forex brewery. So a little bit more bonding. And the brewery was the end of the day. We came back and we closed off and everyone went home. The thing we did with the brewery was I got the same result. I watched people match up and I stood back a bit with a beer in my hand. But I watched people match up, I watched them talk. And the one thing we did on the Friday, we got Tracy to run her team building event using the go-karts. So she established that and set it up and told people what to expect from it, and then afterwards, what did you get from it? So the franchisees got a lot from it. I then learned a lot from that. So then on the Saturday, Tracy wasn't there on Saturday drinking with us. I stood back and watched what people did. The amazing thing out of those 2 days was the communication between the franchisees. And they just all had a ball. And I'm sure we could put them all in the room, just let them talk. That's what they really want to do. They don't need to be talked to, they need to be able to talk to each other. That's what I learned. I can't wait for next year, and we've got some great stuff planned. I tell you, right now, it's going to be fun. We might just forget all about the classroom, but it's going to be a cracker.
So talking like that you've actually watched them, what do you think is the key to making that franchise or franchisee relationship work, where it's not like boss and employee, that you're actually building that?
Look, I wish I had the perfect answer to that. I think that's in your personality. I like to get on with people. I really prefer consultation than confrontation. So we have an FAC, but they, we struggle to get them to deal with it much, because most of them, if they've got a problem, they just call here and we deal with it. All problems are dealt with immediately. I just think being available, I know it's easy. We only got 50. If you've got 500 franchises, then the owners of the business can't be available for everybody. But I think they've got to be available for those that need to talk to them. And there's times when people need to talk to you. You've got to be available for that. We're sort of lucky enough at the moment. We're small enough that I can be available for anybody at any time. So, and with the emails, and I've had Sunday afternoon phone calls. That's all right.
Isn't that a sign that it's a good relationship if someone feels comfortable enough, like I need to call you on a Sunday, and that you're willing to take it?
Oh yeah. Well, most of them, when they come on board, I say my phone's on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll go, oh yeah, right. Then when something really goes wrong and they have to ring me on a Sunday, they find it is. And then I realise, it is. Sometimes when I go on holidays, I like to turn it off, but we don't. The only time we ever turn it off is if I'm overseas, because it costs me a fortune for you to ring me. So, but emails, you get emails 24 hours a day, so that's not a problem either. I don't know. I haven't met too many franchisors that don't admire their franchisees. The very successful franchise systems that are hugely large, it's terrible, that have got lots of franchisees, then they have master franchisees in place, and so they have a structure for supporting people. Yeah.
So on that, are you happy to talk about expanding and that taking the brand overseas and what that's actually meant for you? Yeah,
absolutely. We were like everybody else and think, oh gee, let's go to America. We'll all be trillionaires in the first 3 weeks. So we went about that, and we've learned a lot about that. So we went into the US and we went about it in the way that we're going to structure it all ourselves, get all the licenses and the disclosures and systemise it for America, and rebrand it, make it American. And we did all that. And again, my daughter and son-in-law went and moved to America. They're still there. and went to America and lived in LA for 18 months and then moved to New York, and we actually had an office down in Long Island, down in Bayshore, and we had a van and had our operators, and we were doing it. And then along came an opportunity to license it to another company that wanted to grow and wanted to grow their service industry based businesses. So we were happy at that point to license it to that company. So what we've learnt is that the next place we would like to go is either Canada or the UK, or maybe same time. But instead of going in and doing it the hard way, we'll find a licensee. For us, that's the way we think we'll do it. And that's the way the big companies have done it in this country too. They've come in here and got master franchises and, you know, given them systems to follow, and away they've gone. Yeah, so I'm excited about where we've still got to go. I mean, I probably I will see a lot of the results, but there's probably people behind me that will, you know, keep the business going and taking it further and further, because it's got a lot of other derivations it could have. So yeah.
So if you had to start all over again, if you went back 15 years and you had to start again, is there anything majorly different that you would do, or is there anything that you're like, yeah, that was a really good move, I would have done that again in a second?
I'd do a lot differently, but wouldn't we all? You know, if you had your life over again, of course you're going to change all the things you did wrong. The early things for quite some years that I did wrong, and that is I didn't listen to other people. I didn't network. I thought, no, let's do this ourselves. You know, I don't want to be something else. And that, in my mind now, was a mistake, because we could have been a lot further on earlier, and that's my fault. That's what I did wrong. The people around us were trying to probably grow it faster, and we were going, no, let's do it this speed. And up until about probably 5 or 6 years, that was the right attitude. After that was wrong. But I dug my heels in by then. And so yeah, I would take advice. I would join networking groups. I would network myself to death. I would certainly enlist the help of outside companies like, you know, Leisure Seekers, and I've got now Kin Digital with our social networking, and just all the people that we're using. We're even looking at and involving people like First Class Accounts for bookkeeping to offer to our franchisees as another franchise system to help our franchises. So yeah, that's what I do differently. Yeah, I do a lot more of that a long time ago.
So have you got any last words of wisdom or advice for other people?
A gem. You want a gem? Look, I think certainly the successful business, small business and larger business in this country is franchising. There is no doubt about that. They've got the statistics to prove it. So yes, be involved in franchising. If you're a franchisor, get involved with the Franchise Council of Australia and support it. Support it so it becomes a very, very big organisation, because the bigger it becomes, the stronger we become as a group. Be kind to your franchisees. Treat them like your children. They're your lifeblood. Without successful, happy franchisees, you've got a miserable life. So that's a couple of little points that I think work for us.
So where to from here for Gutter-Vac? What's the big plan? Where to now?
The big plan is over the next 5 years to go from 50 to 100. That will put me in my mid-60s, and maybe other people would like to see me move on by then. That's my dream. We have some other companies with Ballantyne Safety because of working on roofs. We have roof safety that we deal with. We'd certainly like to grow that business as well, and it's going well at the moment. We want to be involved in other parts of the market like gutter guard. We've got products that we encourage our franchisees to use. So yeah, there's plenty to go with. The next decade is going to be a million mile an hour.
So looking for another 50 franchisees. Who are you really looking for though? Let's put it out there. Who would make a great person for you to...
I want 10 people. I want 5 each.
Perfect.
It's clear, it's very clear in our system that multi-territory franchisees grow at an astounding rate, and they grow. Their multiples are very impressive. It also means, and we're becoming much more multi-friendly as a franchisor. In the early days, we were very scared of it because, you're going to break up your system. You know, that's not how our system works. Well, we've changed. Multi-systems are very good. It works for most of the other systems. And we've looked at our guys, and the multis, they're the winners. They're big winners. But then we've got guys who want lifestyle. So we've got fellas, franchisees who only want to do 2 or 3 days a week. So that's all right. But yeah, I want 10 people who want 5 each, and we still have the demographic in Australia that we can still do it. You know, if we sell another 20, we'll probably struggle to put 5 territories together. So,
well, thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.